You done now?
Broadcasting live from Houston, Texas, and around the world. TV host, best-selling author, and radio personality Brad Gilmore brings you a collection of conversations with stars from movies.
Mark Wahlberg.
Hey, how are you?
The legendary Mr. Christopher Lloyd. Christopher, how are we doing?
I'm doing good. Great introduction.
Television.
Jimmy Fallon joins us this morning. Jimmy, how you doing, my friend?
Good morning. Thank you so much, Brad, for having me. I appreciate this, bud.
Kelly Ripa.
Brad, thank you for having me.
Comedy.
Jay Leno joins us. Jay, how you doing?
Hey, Brad, what's going on?
Gabriel Fluffy Iglesias.
Good morning.
Music.
Lola Monroe.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Grammy Award winner Maya joins us.
How are you?
And more. This is The Collection. Now your host, The Boat, Brad Gilmore.
Eddie joins me right now. We're talking about Weird, the Al Yankovic story. The director joins us right now, Eric Appel. Eric, man, congratulations on the film. It's phenomenal.
Thank you so much. I'm glad you dug it.
Let me ask you this, because it's finished now. People are going to see this movie. The picture is locked. Are we happy with it fully, or are you like George Lucas and you wake up in the middle of the night being like, Greedo should shoot first?
Yeah, I'm going to edit in a lot more special effects. No, I'm super happy with it. I mean, there are jokes and stuff that we cut out of the movie just, to preserve this weird like tone that we have going on. So maybe at some point you will see, the Yankovic cut. Our version of the Snyder cut will have,
it'll be a 12-hour story.
That's right.
Man, no, but it was just so much fun to watch. And I remember the trailer, the original trailer when it came out, the Funny or Die trailer 2010, because I was in school at the time, and somebody had sent it to me, and I didn't realize it was a Funny or Die video at first. So I was like, whoa, Madonna. Wait, what happened? And then, but to fast forward all these years later, man, I mean, did you think, like, hey, we're actually going to do this movie someday?
No, I never thought we were going to really turn it into a movie. Al played this trailer at his concerts for like a decade. People would come up to him after shows and say, either, is this movie real? I've looked for it and I can't find it, or like, can you please make it? And thankfully it like wore on him after all those years. And he sent me, an email in 2019 in February that was just like, I've been thinking, after 10 years of people asking me to see this movie for real, like, and all these biopics that are coming out now, would you be interested in, collaborating on it and writing it together and turning it into something real, which I met up with him the next morning and we started batting around ideas.
So, I mean, did y'all keep in contact? Because you directed the trailer, the Funny or Die trailer.
Yeah. So I did the original. Yeah. And Al, he collaborated with me on that. I'd come up with the idea to do this ridiculous Weird Al biopic trailer, and I reached out to him through Patton Oswalt, who I had worked with before,
who's in the movie,
just to get his blessing. It felt like an idea that Al maybe would have done himself, and I want to make sure I wasn't stepping on any toes. And much to my surprise, Patton wrote me back and was like, Al wants your email, and I was like, a few hours later, I was on Sunset Boulevard getting coffee with Weird Al and watching biopic trailers on his laptop and dissecting them. And we like kept in touch through the years. He's he's a very good friend. He, bought my kids gifts when they were born. And I saw him, if he ever played a show in town, he would always invite me. I would always go. And and now we're much closer. Obviously, we've like made a baby together.
It's so insane to me that I mean, obviously people continue to watch the trailer, and that was probably what led him to finally say, let's do the movie. But for him to stay in contact with you, and were you just like a hellacious Weird Al Yankovic fan? This is where you had the idea for the biopic trailer, or was this just like a funny idea that you had? You're like, oh man, that'd be something to try, because really the movie and the trailer in a lot of ways is a parody of biopics, which plays into the Weird Al of it all.
Yeah, it's funny. So I had been working at Funny or Die for a couple of years at that point. I started in 2007, and I had made another fake movie trailer prior to this. Like the Red camera had just come out recently, so it was like, oh, people can make things that look like real movies. And I wanted to make fake movie trailers that would fool people into thinking that they were actual movies. The first one that I made was called Gobstopper, and it was like a Willy Wonka reimagined as like a Saw-like horror movie with Christopher Lloyd as this like creepy Willy Wonka. I know. I see your Back to the Future poster in the background.
Massive fan.
Yeah, and me too. I wrote him a personal letter to get him to like come be in this crazy thing. And so after that, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Another fake trailer. I was trying to figure out what it would be about. That Notorious B.I.G. Biopic had just come out, and like those events had just happened 10 years prior. And I was reading some article about what was true and what was sort of factually inaccurate in the movie, and it just got me thinking it'd be funny to do a fake biopic trailer about someone who's still alive. You could clearly fact check it, and then to just make everything up. And the first name that I thought of was like, well, Weird Al, because it works on all these levels. It's meta, he's the king of parodies. So, to do a biopic parody that's a biopic about the parody guy, it's just like this weird Russian nesting doll of ideas. And then also like I had seen his Behind the Music, and like I knew what his real life was like. And, he even makes a joke about it in that Behind the Music that like, there's no crazy rock biopic story here. So I'm like, oh, this is the perfect subject, to make it about.
Yeah, man. And even so, fast forward to this movie though. I mean, when the trailer came out for this, at first I didn't know that it was coming out. When I make the connection of, oh, this is like exactly like the Funny or Die storyline. Yeah. And the line in the trailer is when he's talking to his parents, and he's just like, stop being who you really are. I'm paraphrasing. I was like, wait, what? And then you get the whole joke of it all. But Daniel Radcliffe, I feel like, was such an inspired choice, because you don't think of him physically as it. You're not even really thinking of Daniel Radcliffe as a comedic actor, because a lot of the things he's done post Harry Potter have been dramatic roles, some off Broadway, some stage productions. Yeah. Who came up with that idea? Why was Daniel Radcliffe the right person?
Yeah, Al and I came up with a short list of actors that we were thinking about for this. And Radcliffe's name just very quickly rose to the top. One, he's a fantastic dramatic actor. He carried like an entire movie franchise for a decade. You've experienced the world of Hogwarts through the eyes of Daniel Radcliffe. And it's like, he's the perfect person. Like, he's just got the face for it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And some of the choices that he's made post Harry Potter have been, he's done a lot of dramatic stuff, but he's done a lot of really bonkers,
strange. Yeah.
Swiss Army Man playing a corpse, we're like, he's going to be someone that really gets what we're going for. With all of our cast, we really wanted actors that weren't going to try to push the comedy too hard, because the comedy in our movie lives in the drama. It's actors playing this really absurd dialogue and this kind of these silly scenarios, playing them really grounded and playing at the top of their like emotional intelligence. As ridiculous as things are, it's like, we want tears in your eyes at Daniel at certain points in this movie. And he kind of had the same question too when we first sat down with him, like, why? I don't know, why me for this? And once we explained what we were going for, it was like, oh, this makes perfect sense.
Yeah, because again, I guess that's probably another trope of going back to like biopics. When they did the Tupac story, like the thing wasn't about the actor. It was like, we got to find somebody who looks like Tupac. Right. So to go in the opposite direction. Yeah. It's like they're usually, in Bohemian Rhapsody, the teeth, you know what I mean? Like, really going to such lengths to make this person look, exactly, like the subject. And here's Dan. He's a foot shorter than Al. And, but he does have the signature Weird Al abs. Yeah, when Dan took his shirt off on set, we were like, whoa.
Maybe the rumors about him playing Wolverine are true.
Right. Yeah, he's getting jacked.
This guy's ripped.
Speaking of, I guess Freddie Mercury and Queen, my favorite scene in the movie is it's the another one rides the bus moment.
Yeah, the pool party.
The pool party. And there's several things about it I love, but to me, all the celebrity cameos that are in this, right?
Yeah.
With great comedic actors, Jack Black, Conan O'Brien, Will Forte, you can go on, the list goes on and on. Patton Oswalt's in the movie as well. I think it was really a testament to how great Weird Al is in the comedy community, how much he's respected for his craft.
Yeah. I mean, everyone was it's amazing. You know, a lot of those actors kind of came from Al's personal Rolodex. I mean, it's like he shared his Christmas card list with me. And was like, these are all the people that I feel comfortable reaching out to and asking. And it's like this like murderer's row of famous comedians. And we went down through the list and just kind of assigned people, see if this person will play this person, you know. It was astonishing how fast some of these responses came in. I mean, Al would like reach out to the person and 10 minutes later, I would get a text. They're in. They just need to know what date to show up, but they're 100% going to do it and are happy to.
It's incredible, man. And this was your directorial debut. I mean, you've done stuff for a feature length directorial debut. What did you learn in the filmmaking process having to take on a feature like this?
I mean, it's, you know, there's similarities, but there's the amount of control that I had over this one was, you know, I enjoyed that quite a bit more.
I had all of the control.
I mean, you know, I've directed a lot of television, and you know, you're directing someone else's thing. You're stepping in to like execute someone else's vision, and you know, it's the writers are right there with you on set, and they're, you know, I don't know, it's easier, I guess, to do much easier doing television. And yeah, the pressure of doing a film is a lot more, because you sort of like, you know, this is you're putting it out there. It's got to be good. Mm-hmm. It's got to be good. And you know, just all of the being with the project from like its inception all the way to the end. I mean, basically the biggest thing I learned was like, I can make a movie. I can make a movie that people like, and I want to make more movies. Those are really the things that I got.
Well, you know what? I think you're going to make a ton of more movies. This movie is incredible. It's going to be on Roku this week, streaming. Let me ask you this though, because I'm sure people have asked you throughout, you know, you promoting this movie, what's your favorite Weird Al song? You know, what's your favorite parody? What's the one though that you find that gets stuck in your head the most? Maybe not necessarily your favorite Weird Al song, but especially during the making of this movie, you're having to listen to so many of his cuts from 30, 40 years of him making music. What's the one that would always get stuck in your head?
Yeah, I mean, the one that would always get stuck in my head when shooting, My Bologna was like constantly in my head when we were shooting. But really for everyone, it was like whatever the last song we filmed was for until we shot the next one, everyone's going around singing that song. I think that in Al's entire catalog, the biggest earworm for me, and the song that I always say that I love the most, and it's a real deep cut on Off the Deep End. It's this song called The White Stuff, which is a New Kids on the Block parody of The Right Stuff. And it's about the cream inside Oreo cookies, the white stuff. And it's like, I don't know. It's for some reason, like that song is always the first song that I think of when I think of Weird Al.
Well, you know, man, going back to like how great of a comic legend really he is in a lot of ways. I actually put him up there with a Larry David in the sense of thinking of, oh, I could do a parody about the cream filling in the Oreo. That would be hilarious. Like I could sit and look at a million Oreos and never have that idea.
I know.
I don't think
he's really a comedic genius. And that was one of the craziest things about, you know, being creative partners with him on this, is that he very much like shaped my comedic sensibility from a young age. Like I've been listening to Al as long as I can remember. And so it's just such a bizarre thing, like getting to actually like sit down and write a script with him. Cause in a sense, I'm like, you taught me what was funny in a way, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nuts, but he's definitely like comedic legend for sure.
Yeah, comedic legend, very musically talented, like underrated in a lot of ways, like all around the board. I think because he just
like
lives in such a weird niche, right?
Yeah, I mean, and the non-parody songs on his album, you know, he does on all of his albums. It's there, you know, there's five or six parodies, but the rest of the songs are like sort of these pastiche, like genre parodies, I guess. You know, songs that are done in the style of whatever it is, the White Stripes to the B-52s, you know, and you know, the songs are they're all funny. Some of them are maybe quirkier than they are like laugh out loud hilarious, or weird and dark, and you know, that's what I feel like that's the underappreciated thing in Al's catalog. Everyone knows the ones that were on MTV, but you know, there's so many great songs living on those albums that you know, I hope that after this movie, people, you know, start downloading Weird Al songs.
A Yankovic bump. Right?
Yeah. He's going to give himself the Yankovic bump.
Last question for you, Eric. And again, the movie's fantastic. Weird the Al Yankovic story on Roku. Your favorite scene in the movie? I mean, this is your first feature length baby, but I'm sure there's a particular scene that you're like, oh, we nailed this. This was so great.
Yeah, it's the My Bologna scene. It's him writing My Bologna, and it's this moment where he you know, is struck like it's a trope that's in so many biopics where like the artist just comes up with their hit song out of the blue, and it's like this crazy inspiring moment. We took it a step further with like this big John Williams like movie score. It's like suddenly it sounds like Jurassic Park or Indiana Jones or something. And yeah, just like the angles, that we shot, everyone's performances, and that was our first day of shooting too, when we did that scene. And it's like I've always said it's my favorite moment in the movie.
Well, you know what? So many people are gonna love this movie. Weird the Al Yankovic story. Eric, man, congratulations on directing a phenomenal movie. I can't wait to see what you do next.
Thank you so much. Great talking to you.